शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। तृप्ति दीप प्रकरणम। In Chitra Deepa Prakarana, that is 6th chapter, we have seen the illustration of the Jagat, entire creation being compared to a picture on the piece of canvas. This scene that is depicted on the canvas is seen in the scene is seen, spelling difference. Let's see, this scene, the picture depicted on the canvas is seen in the presence of the light. Light illumines the scene depicted on the canvas. Without light, however beautifully you might have depicted the picture, you will not be able to see the picture. Likewise, in Chaitanya, the all-pervasive Chaitanya, the pure awareness principle, Atma Tattva, Brahma Tattva, on account of Maya, the Jagat Chitra is depicted. Not only it exists in Chaitanya, but is made known by Chaitanya Sakshi. Sakshi, the Chaitanya which makes us know the entire Jagat Chitra. Without Chaitanya, neither the Jagat Chitra can exist, nor can it be seen. And this Chaitanya is Atma Swarupa, itself Brahma Swarupa. That is the Shastra Artha, that is the Shastra Nirnaya, that is what the Shastra, that means has to say in terms of final Tatparya. This is sum and substance of the Shastra, that your Swarupa, Atma, is nothing but this Brahma Swarupa, Chaitanya, in which entire Jagat Chitra is depicted and is known on account of Maya. Without this Chaitanya, Jagat Chitra doesn't exist, nor can it be known. The question is, what is the result of gaining the knowledge of this Chaitanya, which is identical with Atma Swarupa, Chaitanya Atma Swarupa, which is identical with Brahma Swarupa, the basis of very Parameshwara Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva. What is the result of this? So we should know that is true, but why should you know about, why should you know that? What is the necessity of this knowledge? Is this, if you know directly, if you can gain the knowledge of this Paramatma Swarupa, Atma Swarupa, Chaitanya Swarupa, with the basis of the entire Jagat Chitra, you will have Nirankusha Tripti. Trupti is contentment. What type of contentment? We do have trupti many times. When you are hungry, you got sumptuous food, you are happy. You listen to music, you are happy. Contentment, depending on the fulfillment of the desires, we do have got this contentment. But this contentment is not nirankusha. Nirankusha means unrestrained, unchecked, limitless, absolute contentment. Absolute in the sense that contentment is limitless and that contentment is not dependent on anything whatsoever. The trupti, the contentment in life after fulfillment of our desire that we gain in life is because of dependence of something or other. But this trupti is independent of everything, at the same time it is limitless. The absolute word means that. Absolute is that which is independent of everything, at the same time free from all limitation. So that limitless ananda one gets, and when the limitless ananda is there, that contentment has to be free from all the limitations. It has to be nirankusha. Nirankusha, without any restraint whatsoever. And that contentment is the one wherein there is no trace of sorrows. See, our contentment is what? Whenever you have got trupti, but that trupti along with that may have some sorrows also. You may be content because of something, but you are aware the other sources of sorrows, means our joy is mixed with the sorrows. So that being the case, this contentment cannot be nirankusha. It is sankusha. So it is with restraint, it is with limitation. Another thing, because there is one Purvapaksha who are called as Jarat Tarkikaha. Jarat Tarkika means old Tarkikas. They say, see, look, you are foolish fellows. Who you means who? Vedantis are foolish. What you are aspiring for? Some Atmananda, Brahmananda, Atma, which is what? Ananda Swarupa, etc. Who told you? Happiness is nothing but cessation of sorrow. You end the sorrow, that is what is the happiness. So end the sorrow, what you will have? Trupti you will have. Come on, I would like to know your opinion. Ending the sorrow by itself, can it mean happiness? Yes or no? Sure. See, suppose the Jarat Tarkika gives an example. A person is sick and he got cured. What happened? He is happy or not? Therefore, Ananda is on account of cessation of sorrow. If that is the case, do you know what you have to do? Then dukkha will be cessation of sukha. Should it not be so? Dukkha should be cessation of sukha. When the sorrow ends, you get happiness. When the happiness ends, you should get sorrow also. Is it not? In world, in life, tell me whether joy and sorrow, are they two distinct things or identical things? You have to think so much. Identical. This is the question. Whether sukha and dukkha, are they one and the same or two different things? Anybody would dare to say identical? Say sukha and dukkha are what? Two distinctly different things. And even the child will tell you. So there is something, sukha is different because the experience of joy is different and experience of sorrow is totally different. So when they are distinctly different, how can you say the ending of one is the other? You can't say that. For example, see, to be happy, it doesn't mean sorrow has to end. An example is given like this. A very rich person rolling in luxury is happy or sorrowful? He has no, we are taking the example of a person who has no cause for sorrow. He is very rich and there is no sorrow at all. He is happy. But he got a son now. He got a son. Now, is he happier or not? He is happier. But is there any ending of sorrow there? No, nothing to do with that. He was happy. Now he is what? Happier because he got a son. There is nothing called as the ending of the sorrow. So therefore, you can't link the ending of the sorrow with the happiness. Actually, do you know what happens? We say we are happy. The disease got cured, the person is happy. Actually, in what is that? It is not true happiness. It is a sense of relief. Actually, when the sorrow goes, there is no positive joy there. But what is there is what? Only a sense of relief. Sense of relief. Which may be mistaken as, that is what? Joy as such. Actually, it is not, because that constraint was there in terms of sorrow. You know, there is one Arabian tale. One devoted person had a problem. So what is the problem? So many guests came. And house is small and he can't take care of this. He can't accommodate all the guests at the same time. He can't drive away the guests also. What to do? So he was a devoted person. He went to a Mahatma. Maharaj, ऐसा हो गया, क्या करने का? This Maharaj was a great fellow. He said, have you got poultry, cock and hen, etc.? Yes. Bring them and keep in the house. Problem was what? Problem was how to accommodate that was there. And this Maharaj says what? Keep the poultry also inside. But he had that much of Shraddha, you know. This Maharaj. He brought the cock and hen also kept in the house also. Already it is overflowing. And he said, afterwards, still again the complaint said. He said, have you got sheep, etc.? Yes. Tie them inside the house. And come to me after 15 days. So he went to after 15 days. What the condition? Maharaj, unbearable. Acha, do one thing. Take away the sheep and the goat and the poultry. And then come after 3-4 days. So he took away all this after 3-4 days. How is the condition now? Abba, what? It's all right now. Why all right? Guests are still there. Yes, sir, but relief from what? Poultry and the goat and sheep as well. So like that, there is a sense of, actually he has not achieved anything. All the guests are continuing to stay there, but he has not driven them away. But what happened? There was more stress and strain because of the additional poultry and the sheep. Now that went away. Abba. So what happened? Now he is happy. Nothing has happened actually. So like that, when the sorrow ends, there is a sense of relief. But it is not positively the joy. That's why Atma is said to be Ananta. Ananta, what is meant by Ananta? Anta, any Anta means limitation. Limitations means sorrow. 3 types of limitations we know. What are those? Desha Paricchinnata, Kala Paricchinnata and Vastu Paricchinnata. All these breed sorrows. When you say Ananta, what is not there? Sorrows are not there. But what say? A seeker, you say, sorrows are not there. But what I want is happiness. So therefore, Raso Vaisaha Anando Brahmeti Vyajana. Raso Vaisaha. That Paramatma is who? Rasaha means what? Ananda Swarupa. Ananda Swarupa. So that is what is that? Anando Brahmeti Vyajana. Bhrigu discovered that Brahma is what? Ananda. Now if you say Atma Brahma is Ananda, from our worldly standpoint, maybe Ananda, generally say when you are happy, sorrow is there or not, along with that. There is that. So Atma Brahma may be Ananda, but along with that what will be there? Sorrows also may be there. So what is said? Ananta. Ananta means no sorrow. Ananda, Rasa means what? It is itself is Ananda Sarupa. Means Atma Brahma itself is Ananda Sarupa. Itself is free from sorrows. Means not two different things. The one which is Ananda and itself is totally free from sorrow, that is what? Ananda Swarupa. So therefore, having discovered the Atma Swarupa as the very Brahma Swarupa, what you have directly cognized, discovered is what? The Chaitanya Rupa Atma, totally free from all sorrows and itself is nothing but Ananda, Nirankusha Trupti, limitless contentment has to be there. That is the result of gaining this knowledge. So that Nirankusha Trupti, limitless, that is contentment, is described. But what is that Brahmananda? What is that Ananda is not the subject matter of this chapter. That will be elaborated in the 11th chapter, Brahmanande Yogananda. Actually, the 11th chapter, for 11th chapter, this chapter is the basis. This is the basis. So how that contentment, the contentment which is independent of everything and which is totally limitless, unrestrained, unchecked, how one gets with this knowledge is now being, that is, analyzed here. And for that, what author does it? It may be Bharati Tirtha, because there is no definiteness is not there, which chapters were Bharati Tirtha, etc. This may, and which was Vidyaranya Muni, possibly this by Bharati Tirtha only as such. So because from 6 onwards, possibly it must be Bharati Tirtha. Anyway, so what he does is, he takes the help of a mantra from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad to show the limitless contentment of a person who has got this Atma Jnana, Brahma Jnana. He picks up a mantra from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and that is given in the first stanza here. First stanza is that mantra, and comments on that up to the end of this chapter. Entire chapter is commentary on one mantra from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad to show the Nirankusha Trupti, the limitless contentment of the person who has got the Aparoksha Jnana, Aparoksha Anubhuti. What is that mantra? Let us see. First one. Atmanam ched vijaniyad ayam asmiti purushaha Kimichan kasya kamaya Shariramanusandvare. Anvaya. Purushaha ayam asmi iti Atmanam vijaniyat chet. Ayam asmi. This much you put in inverted comma. Ayam asmi, put it in inverted comma. Ayam asmi iti Atmanam vijaniyat chet. If you want, you can add there Tada apta kamatvat. Tada apta kamatvat. This is the adhyara. Continuing. Kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvari. Kimichan. Kimichan. After that, if you want further adhyara, you can make. After Kimichan, add Bhoktra bhavat. Bhoktra bhavat. Continuing. Kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvari. This is the mantra from Brihadaranyaka. By the by, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it appears in 4.4.12. 4th chapter of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 4th section and 12th mantra. By the by, this mantra also appears in Shatyayaniya Upanishad from Shukla Yajurveda. It is the 12th mantra, not 12th, 22nd mantra in Shatyayaniya Upanishad from Shukla Yajurveda. Actually, here it is taken from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad only. It appears there in Shatyayaniya Upanishad also. So it is in the form of a question, what we call a rhetorical question. What is it? Purushaha. See, one thing, you can see the beauty of this chapter, not only that, everywhere. Author is not leaving anything for your speculation. Each and every word by word he is going to explain and elaborate. Only you should have the patience, and elaboration will continue up to 298 stanzas. Okay, you should have patience to bear up to that. So from this mantra, nothing will be left without any explanation. So each and every word he is going to pick up and going to elaborate and to show what is the tatparya, the sum and substance of that. Now first let us see the general meaning of this mantra. Purushaha. Here Purushaha is nothing but Purushaha only. But Purushaha can mean Atma also, Brahma also, Jiva also. So what is meant by Purushaha here? So you know, Purnatvat Purushaha means Atma Brahma. Puri Ushati iti Purushaha. The one who abides in the embodiment is a Purushaha, also Atma Kutastha. Purusha also means Jiva. In this context, what is meant by Purusha is Jiva, and how it is Jiva, the author himself is going to explain hereafter. So that don't bother about this, he is going to make it very, very clear. So how it is Jiva also will be shown. So Purushaha means Purushaha, this Jiva. If he gains knowledge like this, if he knows, what does he know? I am Asmi. I am this. Presently, as far as I am Jiva is concerned, what is my concept about myself? Ask anyone, who are you? And if he starts, should have patience to listen to that fellow. All the woes and all tales he will tell you afterward. So, in short, I am who? Popularly known as Samsari, undergoing Sukha Dukkha, more Dukkha, less Sukha, all problems, tensions, confusions, etc. That is who? I am Samsari. So that Samsari Jiva, Purusha, that Samsari, I am Asmi. Present concept is me is a Samsari, subject to Janma, Marana, and nothing but unending. That is what? The series of sorrows, etc. So that one who I mistook myself, that same one is who? I am. I am means this Atma Sarupa, Paramatma Sarupa, Brahma. Who is that I am? Swaprakasham Param Brahma, Paraha Atma, Sarva Prani Pratyaya Sakshi. All this will come there. Me. Who is this me? You know who is that? Swaprakasham Param Brahma. Param Brahma, which is Swaprakasha, means what? The self-evident knowledge principle. A knowledge principle which doesn't depend on anything. On the contrary, it makes you know all that you know, including all that you don't know. Whatever you know and whatever you don't know is made known to you by which that constant integrated awareness principle, the Chaitanya Tattva, self-evident knowledge principle, that Swaprakasham Param Brahma, otherwise called as what? Paraha Atma, Paramatma. And where can you find that? Sarva Prani Pratyaya Sakshi. Permanent address. Where? You need not go to Himalayas to find this Paramatma. Sarva Prani Pratyaya Sakshi, of all living beings. Pratyayas means the antakarana vrittis, the thoughts which give you each and every experience, irrespective of the texture of the experience. Whatever that you experience in your life from birth to death, without a single moment's break whatsoever, if there is a cessation of experience, what does it mean? Kaya? No. Life is nothing but Santata Anubhava Dhara, continuous series of experiences. Each and every experience in the waking and the dream state is presented to us through the antakarana vrittis. Experience in sleep is presented to the through the sukshma vrittis. All these which are inert in nature are made known. Sarva pratyaya sakshi. That Chaitanya Rupa Atma Paramatma. Asmi. I am that. I am not the samsari at all, which I mistook. So that is me. Iti. So Atmanam Vijaniyachi. So one who knows that Atma. Again, who is that Atma? Same thing. Sarva Prani Manisha Tadnyam. So that means one who knows that means all the experience of everything, and one who abides in the antakarana of all wherein the thoughts crop up. So that Atmanam. So actually Atmanam, Bhashyakara in the Brihadaranyaka Bhasha defines like this. Sarva Janabhishta Vijñātāram. One who knows whatever that is required or whatever that is desired by all. Hrutstham abides in antakarana. Hridaya stands for antakarana, the psyche. So, and Ashanayadi dharma, dharmatitam, free from all these characteristic features like hunger, thirst, sorrows, etc. are not there for whom? That Atmanam. I am Asmi, that I am this Atma Sarupa. Vijaniyachi. If one knows. Chet means in case one knows. Why that chet? Shows it is difficult or easy. Difficult to know. It is difficult to know. So, if it's difficult to know, better forget about it, is it not? Whatever that is easy, let us take to find. You can. Provided you do one thing. What is it? You can forget this pursuit. Provided you should give up the pursuit of seeking happiness in the world and the pursuit of getting freed from sorrows in the world. If you are ready to do this, you can get away with this pursuit of knowing Atma Sarupa. Can you? That's not possible. Actually, in and through our all pursuits of seeking happiness through this and that and getting away from sorrow, we are truly seeking what? This Atma Sarupa. Unfortunately, we don't know. We go on groping in darkness at wrong address. Our Sarupa is that, but we are trying to find out in the world where we can never find it. It's our own Sarupa. So that's why Che Vijaniya Chet means Sahasreshu Kashchit. 1 in 1,000 may gain this knowledge. That's why Lord Krishna says. Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kashchit Yatati Siddhaye Yatataamapi Siddhanam Kashchin Mam Veti Tattvata. Among thousands, someone may strive for to gain the knowledge. Among thousands of those who struggle for to gain the knowledge, someone may gain it. Who said this? Lord Krishna. Don't think that Lord Krishna wanted to scare you away from gaining this knowledge. He is the last person. Why? The very avatar he has taken for what purpose? Very few other things like to dispose of Duryodhana, etc. may be there, but main purpose was to hand over this knowledge over the shoulder of Arjuna to the posterity. One of the main purpose of all avatars is to hand over this knowledge. And even if Avatara shouts at the top of the voice, we'll go to Avatara for what? Bhagavan, fulfill this desire of mine, that desire of mine, but nobody cares to gain this knowledge. That's why I say even Bhagavan has to say, Ayyo, what to do with these guys? But Bhagavan will not say, Ayyo, my karma, Bhagavan will not say. Bhagavan will say what? Ayyo, karma of these fellows, he will say. Because I am ready to give this knowledge, but they are not ready to receive it. What can I do for that? So, even Lord Krishna has to say, it is difficult because our pulse and fascination for the things in the world is so powerful that it doesn't allow the mind to seek this knowledge and discover our true nature. Even Lord himself directly comes and imparts the knowledge. Okay. See, in case one gains, say, that person, with that person, aptakamatva, tada aptakamatva. Being the one who is fulfilled, there is nothing that needs to be gained in life because he has discovered himself to be nothing but Paramananda Swarupa. Not the Ananda depending on this and that. My desire got fulfilled and I was happy. But that happiness cannot last long at all. So therefore, says that aptakamatva, being fulfilled, means there is no desire whatsoever that remains to be fulfilled because he has discovered nothing but Paramananda Swarupa. See, when you are hungry, you have got sumptuous feast and you have eaten up to the neck. Will you desire anything at that time? Okay. After 5 hours, that's a different thing. At that time, will you? No. Because you are so trupta, not nirankusha trupti, but you are trupta. But here, having discovered that there is nothing needs to be gained because it is a permanent trupti, so therefore, it says such a person, imichan, desiring what? It means bhogya jatam. What object will he desire for? One who is full and complete, Paramananda Swarupa is directly cognized. No sense objects, no vishayas can any longer hold any fascination whatsoever to this individual. Imichan says, tasya kamaya, for the sake of what desire? Why? There are many objects in the world. He must have got Atma, Brahma, but many other things. He said, do you know, when you discover your Swarupa, Paramananda Swarupa, something strange happens. What is that strange happens? The desirer himself disappears. Who desires the desired objects? Who desires the desired object? I want these things. Who is that I who wants to undergo the experience of this and that? The one who is identified with the embodiment, otherwise called as the Bhokta, Pramata, or who is that? The Karta, Ahankara. When you have discovered yourself to Paramananda Swarupa, the one who is identified with the embodiment, that who is that? That Bhokta himself is gone because Ahankara, the one who is the misnomer identifying with the embodiment, is no more. And that being the case, Bhoktra Bhava, the Bhokta who wants to experience this and that, himself being absent, what happens? Tasya kamaya, for what sukha? Aspiring for what? What sukha? This person who has got this knowledge, he says, Shariram anusanjvaret. Shariram, one's own body, not only the body, the physical body, including the subtle body, which comprises antakarana, also the psyche, also. Anusanjvaret means anusrutya sanjvaret. Sanjvaret tappeta, paritappeta. On account of body demanding this and that. So, how is it possible for that person to get afflicted? It is not possible for such person to get afflicted on account of the body which demands this and that because he has discovered nothing but Paramananda Swarupa, which is not dependent on anything including the entire Jagat, which is own Swarupa. Due to ignorance, he has lost it. Now he has. So that's why. So where is the question of any anusanjvara means paritapa. Paritapa means shariram. Shariram means shariropadi dukkha krutta. Dukkham anu. Anu means anusratya. Anusratya means in keeping with the sorrows that are generally what? Being produced on account of this embodiment upadhi. Come on, tell me. Does our body embodiment, whether the gross body or the subtle body, does it produce sorrows or not? Sorrows are produced by what? We are doing now 7th chapter, okay? And it is who? Vidyaranya Muni and Bharati Tirtha. They don't leave any stone unturned. We have seen all along now. Sorrows are on account of what? Deha Dvaya. Stula Sharira and Sukha Sharira. Stula Deha and Sukha. How can you say so? We can prove it. How? In waking and dream, when either both gross and subtle bodies are functioning, or one only in dream, only subtle body without the gross body is functioning, you are prone to be sorrowful. You may not be sorrowful, but possibility of being sorrow being there is there. In sleep, when both Sthula Sharira and Sukha Sharira, gross and subtle bodies are not functioning, they are dormant, they are not that they have got destroyed, they are there. You have no sorrow whatsoever. Not even the least trace of sorrow is experienced by anyone in the entire creation at any time. This is the universal fact, because in sleep these two bodies are not operating, no sorrow. In the waking and the dream, when this body operates, what happens? Sorrow is possible. Therefore, sorrow belongs to whom? Deha Dvaya, Sharira Dvaya, the gross and the subtle body. If sorrow were the intrinsic feature of Chaitanya Rupa Atma, the pure, constant, integrated awareness, which is there even in sleep, you have to suffer sorrow in sleep also. The very fact that sorrows are not in sleep, when gross and subtle bodies are not functioning, shows sorrow is not the characteristic feature of Atma. It is the characteristic feature of gross and the subtle body. Vedanta is not believing something cock and bull stories. This is the truth which can be verified. So that being the case, so it says that is what Shariram Anu means Shariropadhikrita Dukkham Anu means Anusritya. In keeping with that, Sanjvaret means Dukhi Syat. Who will be unhappy? Who will be sorrowful on the account of that? No. Because why? He has nothing to get from the body. He has nothing to do with the body. The job of the body is over. He can fare goodbye to the body, because whatever that body can accomplish, highest thing this body can accomplish. Which body? Human embodiment. Is this knowledge. He has discovered this. There is nothing needs to be gained. So there is no cause for affliction. So, who will get afflicted? Who will have sorrows? No one. That is what rhetorical question. What is called as Kaku Prayoga. Means no one will have any such room for sorrow if one discovered. Purushaha. This, who is that Purusha? Purusha means here Jiva. Otherwise Atma also is Purusha. Here Jiva. If it is I am Atma Sarupa, which itself is Paramatma Sarupa, which itself is Bhagavad Sarupa, names differ, stuff is one and the same. If directly cognized, there is no occasion for any sorrows on account of this body, even if the body is there. In this way, this Nirankusha Trupti is the result that is there on account of gaining this knowledge. And doubt may come here. Sir, in this Brihadaranyaka mantra, nowhere it is told of Trupti. Do you find any Trupti word there? See? Atmanam chet vijaniyat ayamasmiti purushaha kimicchan kasya kamaya shariram anusanjvaret. Is there anywhere word Trupti, contentment there? How do you say so? Yes. Trupti word doesn't appear there. But if you analyze this mantra, you will find the Trupti of who? Not simply the person who has got Atma Jnana, but also whose mind is totally absorbed in the Atma Sarupa. Such a person, in the parlance of Vedanta, is called as Jivan Muktaha. Two, Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti. But this person, a person who has got the Atma Jnana, even if Jivan Mukti is not there, Videha Mukti, after death he is bound to get freed from the cycle of birth and death. That's the only Videha Mukti. But this person not only has got the Atma Jnana, Ayam Asmiti Purusha Vijaniyat, not simply knowledge, but the mind is absorbed in the Atma Swarupa, and because of this absorption, he is impervious of the word, including the body of such a person. So, what is that? That Ananda he has discovered, that Trupti will be revealed by analysis now. That's what it says. So, what is why this vichara has to be conducted? What vichara? Inquiry or analysis of this Brihadaranyaka mantra. Why should we conduct? And if we conduct that inquiry analysis, what is the result of this analysis? That is now told in the second stanza. Asya shruterabhiprayah samyagatra vicharyate जीवन मुक्तस्य या तृप्तिः सा तेन विशदायते अत्र अस्याः श्रुतेः अभिप्रायः सम्यक् विचार्यते अत्र अस्याः श्रुतेः अभिप्रायः सम्यक् विचार्यते तेन जीवन्मुक्तस्य या तृप्तिः सा विशदायते अत्र means in this chapter entitled Trupti Deepa Prakarana. In the 7th chapter of Panchadashi called Trupti Deepa, here in this chapter, atra, what is being done? Asyaha Shrutehe Abhipraya. Abhipraya is not opinion here. Abhipraya means the content, the sum and substance, what is called Tatparya, the real essence of this Shruti. Shruti means Shruti statement, the mantra that we have seen in the first stanza. I have given the reference. It is in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is 4.4.12. So of this Shruti statement, so the Tatparya, the sum and substance, the essence of that, Samyak Vicharyate, inquired into, investigated into, how Samyak, thoroughly, without leaving anything remaining there. कुछ भी बाकी नहीं है उधर. So thoroughly Samyak Vicharyate is being investigated into, is being analyzed, inquired into. Fine. But why that vichara has to be conducted? What is the purpose of such inquiry? So the question arises, why should we conduct that inquiry? What is the purpose of that? What is the phala? This is the phala. Tena, by that means, by that vicharena, by this inquiry, tena, what are you going to find out? Jivan muktasya ya truptihi, whatever the contentment, of whose contentment? Jivan muktasya. Jivan muktasya means one who has got Jivan mukti. Actually, between Jivan mukti and Videha mukti, the only distinction is presence and absence of the body. In Videha mukti, prarabdha is over, prarabdha of the jnani is over, and what is there is only Atma Sarupa, Brahma Sarupa, nothing, no embodiment, no Jagat, and no further Janma Varna, because his Ahankara is gone, Jnana is gained, that is the moksha. In Jivan Mukti also, same Anubhava is there, but body is continuing, Body is continuous. This is analyzed in what is called by Vidyaranya Muni, a text called Jivan Mukti Viveka. In Jivan Mukti and Videha Mukti, Anubhavataha, there is no distinction. But Vyavaharataha, in terms of Vyavahara, the body continues, because the Jivan Mukti word is very much misused as such. Jivan api muktaha. Even while living, he is liberated. Little Vedanta studied Jivan Mukta, they say. If a person who has got Atma Jnana by itself is not a Jivan Mukta. After Atma Jnana, that means the mind is so much absorbed in the Atma Swarupa, the person is not aware of the body, including the world. Such person only can be, according to Shastra, according to so many Upanishads. You can refer to my commentary of first chapter, stanza 61 and 62. While analyzing, I have given all these names of Upanishads there as a, only that person can claim to be Jivan Mukta. The one who is not, that is what? Assailed by Drishta Dukkha, Drishta Sukha. So long as the body is there, Sukha Dukkha's are bound to be there. But the mind is so much absorbed in the Swarupa, the person is impervious of the sorrow that are reported by the body and the Antakarna. Such person only can be called as Jivan Mukta, and not others cannot be called as Jivan Mukta. They may be Jnanis, they may have Aparoksha Jnana. Once Aparoksha Jnana is gained, Videha Mukti is guaranteed. No one can snatch away that. But the fellow will be buffeted by, so long as the habitual identification the body is there, the sorrow that the person has to face on account of prarabdha will create ups and downs in the bosom. So therefore, he is not a Jivan Mukta, he is a Jnani. If actually really he has got the knowledge, he is a Jnani. So, but here, Jivan Muktasya, not only one who has got the knowledge, but the mind is absorbed in the Swarupa, is not aware of the body, leave alone the world. So, of that person, Ya, whatever that content, what is that Ya? That which is very well known in the Shastras and directly experienced by this Jivan Mukta. Ya means Shastranubhava Prasiddha. Prasiddha, well known. By what? In Shastras, Upanishads, and also the Anubhava, the direct experience of such person who has accomplished this, who is called a Jivan Mukta. Trupti, whatever the Trupti, the contentment, Nirankusha Trupti, the unrestrained contentment, Sa, that Trupti, what happens? Vishadayate. Vishadayate means spashti bhavati, becomes very clear. So, by the analysis of this mantra, the trupti, the contentment of such person becomes very clear. And when you say trupti, there must be the anubhava of ananda. Right? We have seen now. Freedom from sorrow can give us a sense of relief, but not the content. Because sorrow and joy are two distinct things. Here is the ananda. There is no trace of sorrow, and that ananda, otherwise called as Brahmananda. What is that ananda will be the topic of the 11th chapter of the Panchadashi. But that contentment on account of this ananda will be revealed by analysis of this mantra, which is the content of entire chapter, 7th chapter, called Trupti Deepa. Having broadly introduced the chapter, now he is going to analyze in detail the mantra which is given here in the first stanza. Atmanam ched vijaniyat ayamasmiti purushaha kimichan kasya kamaya shariram anu sanjvari. What is called as Vyakhyana. Vyakhyana means not like our nowadays Vyakhyana. Lagao, The fellow starts somewhere, ends nowhere, and what? And all entire audience is all totally what? Engrossed in something else. Not that. There is a rule for Vyakhyana. And author being what it is, strictly follows the rule. Now, this is what the entire now, rest of the 296 stanzas are the what? They constitute the Vyakhyana exposition of this first stanza. A Vyakyanakara, nowadays Vyakyanakara is who? Speaker. Anybody is, all political speeches are what? Vyakyanas only. They are not actually not that. So, the person who, that means gives an exposition, has to take into account 5 aspects. This Vyakhyan, there is some topic is there. The topic is there. That's not that topic. Now here what is the topic now? This Brihadaranyaka mantra is the topic. So for Vyakhyana, the 5 constituents, the 5 aspects are like this. Padachhedaha, Padarthoktihi, Vigraha, Vakyayojana, Akshepasya Samadhanam. Akshepasya Samadhanam, Vyakhyanam Panchalakshanam. Vyakhyana has got Panchalakshana, 5 features. What are those? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Number 1. Padachhedaha. Padachheda means splitting of the words. Splitting of the words means the sandhi, the conjunction has to be resolved. In English, no problem. Why? There is no sandhi, but Sanskrit there is sandhi. But I told you sometime, no entry, no entry. According to Sanskrit, sandhi becomes entry. See, look, see, sandhi means what? It's the easy pronunciation. You see, no, you repeat, no entry, no entry, no entry, no entry, no entry, no entry, no entry. Automatically you will land in ne. No, O and that is A will become A, entry, like that. No, that's not. Always like that. This is the easy pronunciation of that same thing are formulated in the rules we call sandhi rules, grammatical conjunction rules. As far as vernacular also it is there. Only English it is not there. It is non-phonetic language. That's why it is not there. Fine. So it says Padachhedaha means breaking of the sandhi you have to give, because you should know what are the words there. Unless you break the sandhi, unless you break the conjunction, you will not know the words. Padarthoktihi, meaning of the ukti, statement of the artha of the pada means giving the meanings of the words that are there in that. Vigraha, if a compound is there, grammatical compound is there, that compound has to be resolved. Break the sandhi, give the word meanings, and then resolve the compound. Then Vakyayojana, formulation of the sentence, what I give you as what? Anvaya, the relation between the words. So Anvaya, what I give you Anvaya, that is what Vakyayojana means. If this couplet were put in a prose order, it will be like this. And of course, that Anvaya, what happens now? In different language, it will differ. Because every language has got peculiarities. For example, in English, Rama eats laddu. Rama, the subject, then what comes? Verb comes, eats, and then comes laddu, the object. Suppose you put the same sentence in vernaculars. You can't say Rama khata hai, Ram khata hai laddu. You can't say Ram laddu khata hai, Ram ladu khato. Ram ladu khave che. So what? First subject, then comes what? Object, Finally comes the word. Is it not? So therefore, when you give the Anvaya, in what language you give, that also makes us the same. Best thing is, give the Anvaya in Sanskrit only. Because if language differs, your thing will be, especially this is with the vernacular and English, that gadbad happens. In vernacular, more or less the same thing. A slight variation may be there. Give the Anvaya in where? In Sanskrit. And in Sanskrit, no problem at all. Do you know why? The syntactical connections are such that every word and every verb is so well defined. Wherever you place it, meaning is what? Pakka. It can't. Otherwise, in English, what will happen? Even a comma can create a big problem. You know that? You know that? Some judge gave a verdict, it seems. You know? Leave him, not kill him. He said, leave him, acquitted, not kill him. The stenographer, while typing, where he put the comma, leave him, not, comma, kill him. End of it. Matter of life and death on account of what? One comma. One comma, because life and death. That is the limitation of English language. In Sanskrit, nothing will happen. You place any word anywhere, the meaning is not going to change. But still, to make it a sense, you have to put in a prose order. That is what is that? Anvaya. Anvaya is, that is what is called here as. So that is Vakya Yojana. 4 things are over. Now, an elaborate thing is that Akshepasya Samadhanam. Doubts are possible. What is told? Objection may be there. Doubts have to be resolved. For those, answers have to be given. You have to, any expected objection, you have to rule it out satisfactorily. All this is the job of one who does the Vyakhyana. So that's why I say, Akshepasya Samadhana. Samadhana means answer. Answer. Samadhana also means answer. Answering the possible objections and the questions. All these 5 aspects a Vyakhyanakara has to take into account. So Bharati Tirtha, being what he is, he goes meticulously, step by step. So now he wants us to know what exactly is meant by Purushaha. Picks up the word Purushaha from stanza 1, which is from Brihadaranyaka mantra, and to give the actual meaning of this word by analysis. That means first he introduces the creation. Purusha, we have seen who is Purushaha? Jiva, the individual, you and me. But you and me, the individual Jiva, has no locus standi without the creation, the Srishti, the Jagat. How? Srishti, the Jagat, includes Panchamahabhutas also. Space, air, fire, water, and then earth. Not simply 5 elements, Adhisthana Devatas, Ishvara has to be there, vegetation must be there, stars, moons, and all this must be there. All these must be there. Not only that, other individuals must be there or not. Other individuals, including your enemy, also must be there. Why? Without that, you will not get the experiences, because you have come here already with a program. Software is already prepared there. And what is that software? Which gives you all the Sukha Dukkhatmaka experiences designed by your own karma phalas. And in that, sorrows also are there. And the sorrow to give that, if it is sorrow from enemy, that enemy also must be there. It's all part and parcel of the creation. So that creation must be there. Without that, you individual cannot exist in the world. So to introduce the Jiva, which is the meaning of Purusha, first briefly he tells what the Srishti is, what the Jagat is, two types of creations. One public creation of Bhagavan's creation, Ishvara's creation, and other the private creation you and me create. In fact, this was the subject matter in the 6th chapter. Here the context is that he just passingly hints and proceeds to define who is this Purusha. Maya bhasena jiveshau karoti ti shrutatvatah kalpitaveva jiveshau ताभ्यां सर्वं प्रकल्पितम् Maya abhasena. See here, Sandhi. You can't say Maya abhasena. It can be made. As a word it can be by Maya abhasa. But what is Maya abhasa? Maya, subject. Abhasena, on account of abhasa, with the help of abhasa, like that. Maya abhasena. What does it do? Jiveshau karoti. Iti. You can put that. Maya bhasena jiveshau karoti. This much in inverted comma. Iti shrutatvatah. Actually, this phrase Maya bhasena jiveshau karoti is already there in chapter 6, stanza 155. So the phrase from chapter 6, stanza 155. Karoti iti shrutatvatah jiveshau kalpitau eva. Jiveshau kalpitau eva. Tabhyam sarvam prakalpitam. Tabhyam sarvam prakalpitam. This is how Srishti, the Jagat, the world has come into existence. Who created that? Maya. Maya. What is Maya? Come on, can you give me what exactly is meant by Maya here? It is not Maya actually. Maya is used for something else. What is that? Prakriti. Prakriti. See, in the first chapter we have seen Trigunatmika Prakriti. And that Prakriti is divided into Maya and Avidya on account of the predominance of Shuddha Sattva. Shuddha Sattva, the Shuddhi Ashuddhibhyam. If purity is there, it is Maya. Impurity is there, it is Avidya. But stuff is what? One and the same, that is Prakriti. You can refer to first chapter, stanza 15, 16 and 17. So, Trigunatmika Prakriti, whose one of the constituent is Maya, which is Sattva Shuddha Pradhana. Predominantly, Sattva Guna is there. Very negligent Rajas and Tamas. When Rajas and Tamas is more, Sattva Guna is less, it is called as Avidya. Maya is wielded by who? Ishvara. Bhagavan wields the Maya, and Maya is under the control of Ishvara, and therefore Ishvara is not a samsari, he is free from samsara. You and me, the jivas, are under control of Avidya, and therefore we suffer the samsara. In reality, both are what? Chaitanya, one and the same principle. Ishvara Swarupa is Chaitanya, Jiva Swarupa is Chaitanya, but Bheda is Upadita, one who is the creator and controller of everything. The Jiva is subjected to all these sorrows. All that what Vedanta and Bhagavan can say only, discover this, you are in reality nothing but Bhagavad Swarupa, Chaitanya Swarupa, Atma Swarupa, Brahma Swarupa, and not this samsari jiva. So therefore he says, so that is that Maya. But Maya cannot create on its own. Why? Maya means a Prakriti. Why? It is inert by itself. Being inert thing can't do anything. What is required? Enlivening principle, knowledge principle, sentiency principle, sachetanata is required. From where it can gain? Abhasena. Abhasena is Chidabhasena. Other called Chidabhasa. From where does this Chidabhasa comes? Chaitanya, which is all pervasive, is being all pervasive. When this Maya is there, in inert Maya, Prakriti, what happens? That Chaitanya gets reflected. That reflected Chaitanya, that is what is Abhasa, Chidabhasa. You are familiar with the reflection of Chaitanya in Antakarana. In our Antakarana, which are thoughts. The thought is product of what? This Maya, Prakriti only. So therefore, in Prakriti, whatever that reflection of Chaitanya is cast, that Abhasa, because of which what happens? Prakriti, which is inert, also appears as sentient and does all the function. So Abhasena, what does that Maya do? Prakriti do? Jiveshau karoti. Karoti produces, manifest, Jiva and also who? Ishvara. अच्छा, ईश्वर also is created. तो मुसीबत हो जाएगी. Who does it? Maya. Abhasena. What is the basis of Abhasa? Chaitanya. What is that Chaitanya? Atma, Paramatma, Brahma. Means, what does it mean? This Brahma, Chaitanya, wielding the power of Prakriti Maya, gets the status of what? Ishvara. Same Brahma, Atma, Chaitanya Brahma, wielding the Avidya, parades at what? Samsari Jiva. In reality, stuff is what? One and the same electricity from 1000-watt bulb is bright and brilliant, luminous. Same electricity from 25-watt bulb is a dim lamp, but electricity is one and the same. So likewise here. So Jiveshau karoti. Of course, this was all discussed in stanza chapter 6. Karoti. Now, this may be something your imagination. Who told you all these things? Iti Shrutattvataha. It is not my brainwave. Author wants to make it very clear. This is what Shruti says. This was discussed in the 6th chapter. Shrutis are referred to Shvetashvatara Upanishad, 4th chapter, 9th mantra and 10th mantra. And also Nrsimha Uttara Tapaniya Upanishad, 9th mantra. So it is Shvetashvatara Upanishad, 4th chapter, 9th and 10th mantra. Nrsimha Uttara Tapaniya Upanishad, 9th mantra. Many other Upanishads can be found. So that Maya, which is Prakriti, creates both, gives rise to projection of Jiva and Ishvara, is what? Told there in Shruti. Therefore, who are these now, Jiva and Ishvara? Product of what? Maya. Maya, is it real or false? The power, creative power of Ishvara. So, Maya Shakti Prakriti, is it real or false? What do you mean by real and what do you mean by false? Not from our worldly standpoint. That which exists all along without destruction and without change whatsoever is what? Real, Satyam. And that which appears to be there but doesn't exist all along, gets subject to change, is what? False, otherwise called Mithya. Now, Maya is what? Satya or Mithya? you can get past Maya. Maya can be terminated. You can know your Sarupa, Atma Sarupa, Brahma Sarupa, Paramatma Sarupa, Parameshwara Sarupa, Bhagavad Sarupa, you can discover. You can get freed from the effect of Maya. Maya can be terminated and it is subject to all change, all modification. Therefore, it cannot be Satyam. And status of Jiva and status of Ishvara, products of false Maya, are equally. Your dream being false, all things that you experience and create in the dream are equally false, including the you, the dreamer. So, Jiveshau kalpitau eva. Both Jiva and Ishvara are what? Falsely projected. Here, one word of caution I have told you many times. Ishvara is false from what standpoint? Just as Jiva is false from what standpoint? Swarupa standpoint. From the Atma Swarupa, Brahma Swarupa standpoint. So long as you deal with the world, you take this body as real, you take the world as real, Ishvara also is equally real. We have to make use of Ishvara. We have to make use of Bhagavan so long as you are interacting with the world. But when you have discovered the real, this is a very important point. I think in the 6th chapter also I have told. Don't misunderstand this statement. So, Ishvara, Bhagavad Tattva is very, very useful. You can't dispense with that so long as you are dealing with the body and the world. We have to make use. That's why prayers and all this karma yoga and all this what Shastra says is meaningful. But final truth is, from reality standpoint, what is truth is only Chaitanya, Atma, Brahma, with the basis of both Jiva and Ishvara. So that is what truth. Because Bhagavad Tattva, Ishvara Tattva is a status so long as the Jagat is there, word is there. From reality standpoint, neither the Jiva, nor Jagat, nor Ishvara Tattva. What is there only? Chaitanya Tattva, Atma Tattva, Paramatma Tattva, Brahma Tattva alone. That is the very truth of Ishvara, Bhagavan, that alone is. So, Jiveshau kalpitau eva. Kalpitau eva. They also are falsely projected in Atma, Paramatma, Brahma. And Tabhyam, Tabhyam. Tabhyam means by those two. What are those two? By Jiva and Ishvara. What is done? Sarvam prakalpitam. All entire Jagat, Sarvam Jagat, Krishnam Jagat, prakalpitam is projected. That was discussed where in 6th chapter as Ishvara Srishti and Jiva Srishti. Ishvara Srishti, the public creation, is common to all. In that, Sukha Dukkha experience is that you and me eke out, that is our individual creation. That's why public creation being one and the same Jagat is some heaven for someone, hell for other. World is one and the same. Who created this heaven and hell? Individual person on account of one's own karma phalas. Jagat is same. That being the case. So Jiva Srishti, Ishvara Srishti, both are created by me. Ishvara Srishti, the public creation. Jiva Srishti, the projection in the public creation, because of which we undergo all our Sukha Dukkha Atmaka experience. So, Tabhyam, by that Jiva and Ishvara, Sarvam Prakalpitam, entire Jagat is created. Now the question is, what is created by Ishvara and what is created by Jiva? So, this is what A to Z created by Ishvara. This is what A to Z by Jiva is now told in this. Keep in mind, why this Srishti is told? What the topic? Who is this Purusha? Who is this Jiva? That is to be explained. explained for that first creation is told. So what is created by Jiva, what is created by Ishvara, briefly told. In the next stanza, actually, this stanza also we have found in chapter 6, stanza 203. It is not a new stanza. 6th chapter, 213, not 3. 213. And same stanza with slight difference will appear in 8th chapter, 69th stanza. See how important this stanza, repeatedly coming in 3 chapters we can find that. Ikshanaadi praveshanta सृष्टिरीशेन कल्पिता जाग्रदादिविमोक्षान्तः संसारो जीवकल्पितः. Actually, this appears also in Varahopanishad. Same thing appears in, actually it's borrowed from Varahopanishad. Varahopanishad, chapter 2, stanza 54. So often quoted. Anvaya as it is. Ikshanadi praveshanta srishtihi ishena kalpita. Jagradadi vimokshantaha samsaraha jiva kalpita. This Srishti, from this, ending with this, created by who? Ishena. Kalpita, created, projected. What is that? The Srishti, which has got Ikshanadi and Praveshanta. Grammar-wise, is a very interesting phrase it is. Ikshanadihi is a Bahuri Samasa. Ikshanam yas adihi yasyaha srishtehe. That is Ikshanam. So Ikshanam Adi, it is those who have got Ramakrishna Tika, they will find it. Then the book. Ikshanam Adihi. There it is only Ikshanadi Yasya given. Actually it should be Ikshanam Adihi Yasyaha Sa Ikshanadi. Means the Srishti which has got the beginning in Ikshana. What is Ikshana? You have seen this. Literal Ikshana means what? You are doing Ikshana now. What is the Swami asking? You are blinking at me, is it not? That seeing also is what? Ikshana. Ikshana is seeing. Now this Ikshana is actually, one way of saying is, the first sankalpa of Ishvara to create the Jagat. Bahusyam prajayeti satapotapyata satapotaptva idagam sarvam asrujata. So, let me be many. So he did sankalpa. That one way is. Actually, the question comes, to do sankalpa, what is required? Look, you have come to this class today after sankalpa only. Is it not? Today is Sunday. Last Sunday the class was not there. Today class is there. 7th chapter is beginning. Let me go. That let me go is what? Your sankalpa. And finally you took to vehicle or whatever transport, you came here. Is it not? So beginning from where? That's sankalpa. Fine. Like that, Ishvara created sankalpa, let me create. But actually, what is meant by, we have seen this in detail. So it is the first modification of Maya to create. For Ikshana Shrutis, Ikshana Shruti, many say, Aitareya Upanishad, etc. is found there. So let me create. The first modification, the first vikara of Maya to create the Jagat, that is called as Ikshana. Beginning. praveshanta. Pravesha, ending with pravesha. There also praveshanta is praveshaha antaha yasyaha srishtihe sa praveshanta. Means the srishti which has got pravesha at the end. Ikshananta is what? The srishti which has got the ikshana as the beginning. That srishti is called ikshananta. Name of the srishti. Srishti, the jagat which has got the pravesha entry. We'll see afterward what is entry. Entry as ending, that is what is called as praveshanta srishti. What is pravesha entry? Also we have seen. Availability, look here. Atma, Paramatma can't enter anywhere. You enter this hall. How come? Because you are not here in the hall. From whom you came, you entered here. How come Paramatma enters somewhere? Why? Chaitanya Paramatma is what? Sarvyapi. Even this creation is what? Pado Savishwa Bhutani Tripadasya Divi. Entire creation is infinitesimal portion in the Paramatma Sarupa, Brahma Sarupa. Where there is creation, there is space. Beyond creation, there is no space, but Paramatma is there. This space itself is all pervasive. There is no place where space is not there. More pervasive Paramatma, where will he enter? Because entry is possible for a thing from a place where it is to a place where it is not. Paramatma is everywhere. Where the question of entry, literally entry for Paramatma is not possible. What is this entry? We have seen availability of Chidabhasa in our embodiment. Because of which this embodiment which is inert appears as Sachetana, sentient. That is what the Chidabhasa, reflection of Chaitanya, where available in the Antakarana, our psyche. That is what is the entry. Without that Chidabhasa, this embodiment would be a dead mass, because of which it is Sachetana. That is what is called in the scriptural parlance, in the Upanishadic parlance, as Pravesha. All Pravesha Shruti found in different Upanishads mean the availability of Chidabhasa. Praveshanta. Ending with the availability of Chidabhasa, Ishvara Srishti is over. That is what he says. Ikshanadi Praveshanta. There are two Bahuri Samasa. Both joined together becomes Karmadharaya. We'll see that next time. That Srishti is created by who? Ishvara. And what is created by Jiva also we'll see. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayan Nyayena Margena Mahi Mahesha Om Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanya Kriti Sasya Shalini Desho Yansho